Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've covered this week's Krakoan X-Men books and this week's Avengers books. There's some interpretation of what constitutes an Avengers book. And now I'm going to keep on chugging along. We'll kick things off with Star Wars number 35. Where we left off, Luke Skywalker is trying to repair his lightsaber as it had been crushed by killbots in null space. At the same time, he is having trouble controlling the Force, as are other Force users in the galaxy. But Luke has gone to the planet Christophsis in search of a kyber crystal, but he met up with a woman named Greta, who has a vendetta against the Empire. She's a fellow Nazi, has agreed to help Luke on his quest. However, a creature attacked them, and the kyber expert they were searching for arrived just in time and wants Luke's lightsaber. But so the kyber expert, Dr. Kawata, I believe, it convinces Luke to hand over his lightsaber. Luke does so. Kawata takes apart the lightsaber and sees what's going on with the crystal. Apparently, he's able to communicate with kyber crystals. In his lab, Kawata explains some things about lightsabers to Luke, as he hasn't had any real formal instruction in lightsabers except for, a brief amount of training from Obi-Wan. But there is something that Kawata wants Luke to do. There's apparently a means of cleansing a red kyber crystal. And so Luke agrees to do so. Or at least try to. Inside leaves him going inside the crystal, where he's faced with apparently what appears to be a Sith Lord. Luke and the Sith Lord talk. She tries to keep him there, but he's transported elsewhere, and briefly sees Vader. He comes out of it. Kawata wants him to know everything he saw. And then he's given a white crystal to attune it, basically. He does so, and as a vision of Yoda, he and Yoda talk. And Yoda tells him nothing and everything all at once. When Luke comes out of the vision, Obi-Wan's Force Ghost appears to Yoda, and they talk briefly. Luke comes out of it, and the crystal is now green. And so Luke opts to take both the red and the green crystal with him. His lightsaber, after all, has been fixed. And he has some idea of what to do about making it. He's beginning to have an idea of what to do about making a new lightsaber. But Luke, however, is not yet going back to the Alliance. However, before he does so, he has some thinking to do. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting issue. As much as I enjoy the more action-packed issues with story arcs with, space fights, dogfights in space, blaster fights between rebels and stormtroopers, I also appreciate the delving for Luke learning about Force lore, as it were. So this has been a good story thus far. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Darth Vader, Black, White, and Red, number 2. So this is an anthology series. Unlike the Black, White, and Blood minis from Marvel, the previous ones, I guess. This one this series has a running story. In one of the stories is a continuous story, one part in each issue, while the other stories in the issue are self-contained one-offs. The ongoing is Hard Shutdown by Jason Aaron. Where we left off there, Vader had been captured, and the people who captured him had shut off all of his systems. We learned that the people who took Vader prisoner, the ringleader is the son of the man that basically made Vader's body, and also forced augmentations onto his son. But their plan is to pull Vader apart piece by piece and sell the pieces to the highest bidder. However, they've made sure that Vader's mind is, at least his mind, he can still use his mind. He can't move his body, but yeah. That proves to be their downfall as he utilizes the Force and, basically turns their base into a bloodbath. And the issue ends with him still chained to a table, but and his captors trying to figure out what to do now. Next up, we have the Endless Mercy. This is an interesting. I'd say this is actually kind of an interesting story. Vader and his stormtroopers are going after a ship called the Endless Mercy. The Empire received intelligence of a bioweapon being developed in secret by a former Tage Corp engineer named Dr. Sarah Lemire. She's an admirer of Kaminoan technology. She recently escaped with a cache of stolen genetic specimens. Claims to have produced a perfect killing machine that could change the balance of the war. Vader states as he and his stormtroopers enter the Endless Mercy that the perfect killing machine has already been engineered, referring obviously to himself. This, in many ways, feels very much just like someone, like writer David P. Poe said, "Hey, what if the Brood were in Star Wars?" As the creatures that have been created are rather brood-like, but slightly closer to the Brood's inspiration, the Xenomorph from Alien. Vader's troopers are captured. Vader's able to escape, and it turns out that Dr. Lamont, the good doctor, has become the queen of the Hive. And though Vader takes some serious injury in doing so, he destroys the hive mind and turns the ship, the Endless Mercy, into the Doctor's tomb. Finally, we have Power. On an unidentified outer rim planet. Young boy is basically doing what he can to get, you know, help provide for his family. But he runs into local bullies who harass him and mess up all of it, and basically make it so that he can't do anything. So that, you know, he undoing all of his work to, you know, get water and supplies for his family. However, they as they leave, it made clear that that's not all they're going to do. The boy returns home, find his home burning. His mother is outside in tears, but the bully is there teasing him. When stormtroopers arrive, demanding a rebel spy be turned over, it appears that the bully and his friends are rebels. During everything, Vader shows up and deals with the rebels. The young boy sees Vader and realizes that one thing the bully said was right. Power is what matters, and that is where the issue ends. For the book, I've enjoyed most of the Black, White, and Blood minis from Marvel, and I mean, this is basically the same thing, just with Star Wars. And honestly, this has been solid so far as well. I like the idea of having one story that appears in parts throughout the entire miniseries, and if Marvel does produce additional Black, White, and Blood books for other heroes, I hope we get something like that. We see something like that for other characters. Moving on to our next book, we've got Star Wars Empire, continuing the Return of the Jedi 40th Anniversary one-shots. This time, focusing on, well, the Empire. So, apparently a young technician named Rilo Grenth, he's become a civilian contractor for a top-tier installation that is currently being constructed on a distant moon in the Outer Rim. Yeah, he's working on the Death Star. But Rilo is the scion of a tech company that was taken over by the Empire. Talks with some of the troopers aboard the transport that he's on, and, well, they don't think too highly of him. He doesn't really seem to enjoy his time there. The only person he really seems to be when he tries to become close to his, he tries to get closer to the other, the Imperials, he's shunned and made fun of. But he does his job well, working largely with a RA-7 unit. He sees the way a couple of Imperials interact with one another and tries to perhaps make, you know, if they're gets the idea that they have an interest in one another, so he tries to push them together, and that blows up in his face. One day he opts to go outside the bunker for his lunch and comes upon an Ewok. I think it's actually supposed to be Wicket, who turns a spear on him, but the spear is shot by one of the scout troopers. The Ewok runs. The presumably Wicket Ewok runs back into the forest. But Scout Trooper also says, "Yeah, don't leave the complex unless you have to." While working on installation on the basically while doing his job, he finds some files he can't access, and well, he figures try to just make everything as simple as possible so that he doesn't have to so that do what he can to make installing software from his family's company as easy as possible. He convinces the RA7 unit to unlock the files, and when he sees what it is, the Death Star, he says, "You know what? Maybe we should lock those files back." But he continues to do his job. It gets to the point of the day he's heading home. But as he heads to the transport, an ISB officer pulls him aside and he needs to speak with him privately. He's interrogated about his actions, including the officer says that he's either, just an idiot or a rebel spy, and it's confirmed that he isn't going home. But the issue ends with Rilo being sent to a penal colony similar to Narkina 5 as seen in Andor. And upon arriving, the other inmates actually, he kind of clicks with them. Finally making friends, it would seem. And that is where the issue ends. We only had a few of these, but what I've seen, what we've gotten of these Return of the Jedi 4th Anniversary one-shots, I dug them. It makes me kind of wonder, it makes me kind of wish that 3 years ago, well, yeah, 3 years, it kind of makes me wish I'd been, well, I guess, I'm guessing that when War of the Bounty Hunter started up, I must have gotten that. Actually, I'm not sure now. But yeah, it makes me wish that if Marvel had done 40th anniversary one shots for Empire for Empire Strikes Back, that I'd pick those up. Would have made for some fun reads, I imagine. Moving on though to our next book and our last Star Wars book of the week, we've got Star Wars Yoda number 8. Where we left off. Anakin Skywalker and Yoda had discovered a new Separatist, new weapon prototype for the Separatists were working on, a Mega Droid. Skywalker and Yoda convinced the Council to allow them to go after it. They've gotten the intelligence to where it's being built, where these Mega Droids are being built, and the clone battalion. The planet seems to be devoid of life, but as Anakin and Yoda's battalion makes their way to where the factory is, they're attacked. In the woods, Yoda's able to discern where the battle droids where the attackers are coming from. And the two of them go down into the foundry, wading through battle droids, and they find the primary foundry. And well, Yoda has a plan. Basically, blow up the kind of the core of the factory, bring the whole place down, from blowing up one spot. They do so, however, well, at least one of the Mega Droids was completed, and the issue ends with Yoda and Anakin face to face with it. I'm digging this book. I think we're soon coming to its. I think we got 2 more issues left. I remember the Han Solo Chewbacca miniseries ended up being 10 issues, so for 8, so makes sense. We'll see. Anyways, moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Nocterra, number 15. Glad to see Nocterra back on a fairly regular basis. I actually think it has been coming out monthly. Actually, it has been coming out monthly for the last few months. So, where we left off, they'd made it to Eos, and yeah, the light beings living inside Eos were just like, yeah, you can either, like, no, we're not gonna, turn the lights back on for, the world. Screw that noise. But you can stay here and become like us, or you can, go back out into the hell that is the world. Emery is currently narrating where we left off in the story of his past. He had he had met his mother, and the next day went back to her house, found it empty, and a note, which he apparently never read. In the present, Bailey's talking with the hologram of her grandfather, trying to figure out there's maybe something that is not right. But a sound startles everyone. Bill got into Eos and hiding under one of the trucks, and is turning everything into a shade. And he's already made quite a bit of progress. So, Sundog Convoy does what they can to deal with, as well as their current hosts, I guess, do what they can against Bill and the Shades. Emery has a plan, though. Let Bill in at least a little bit, just enough to where he can to make Bill think that Emery and everyone's still there, while Emery and Val go and get the light guns from one of the other installations, and so that way when Nox shows up, well, they can surprise him. Meanwhile, Bailey's going to put in Gus's equation, and she does so. Emery is doing what he is, putting up a hell of a fight against Bill mentally. In the vault with the core of Eos, the inner core of Eos opens with the glares. The opposite number of shades, basically. And the issue ends with Bill making Emery think that he's in the middle of a road, tied to a chair, with a rig coming at him. So far, things are definitely straight up to an interest. I would imagine to an interesting conclusion. As much as I like to think this is going to be Nocterra is going to be an ongoing, it feels very much like they have a story to tell, and they're getting through it. And once it's through, that's that. But we'll see. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.